Greetings. All right, thank you for joining us for tonight's broadcast. One more day out here, and I'm not middle of nowhere, but might as well be. Overall, it's pretty decent. So I went back to where they shot the Truman Show. I went back to that area because yesterday I was just worn out. Just when I saw it, I was kind of like, it's like, this is it. It's amazing what film does to they take something small and make it look big. And exactly what they did. So I went back there today, and it's a mess there. I mean, it's not bad. It's just they got food trucks everywhere. They have a lot of it roped off. It just looks like a big mess. Man, I got video of it, so I did a short channeling there. Nothing too complicated, nothing too earth shattering or anything. And the Truman house where he lived was only like 5 minutes of walking, maybe 2 minutes a walk away from the main square. So it's funny how they So I wasn't sure what the house was. I had to look it up online. And I was going to do a video of the house just real quick. And then the neighbors are coming out. It's like, man, I don't want to be filming somebody's house, and it just looks weird. It's not one of my things, so they're probably used to that. But anyway, it's a little bit weird. Yeah, they had I didn't know. I looked at somebody else's, and they had like a little plaque on the fence that says this is the Truman House. But when I was there, and I've seen another video, there's a car in front of that. So when you're going looking, first I don't know what house it is. I had to look it up, but usually just what road it's on, and just look. It says Truman House on it, but with the car in front of it, I can't know what the fuck. So not that big of a deal, but it was kind of neat. But yeah, it's weird. I guess it's private beaches too. They had the beach. Apparently you have to. It's a private beach. So you have to have a code to get it. I guess you can jump the wall. But yeah, people aren't supposed to be over there. Yeah, you can't just go to the beach over there. That's interesting. So, okay. So this is, pretty much drained today because of yesterday and the day before that. And whatever else is going on with the world. It's been trying to take it easy, but yeah, it's back with like you rest and you're just a little tired, one of those things, but that's all right. So I did a little bit of research. So we'll do one of the goddesses, Enki's daughter. I have to read it. I can't pronounce that, but Nanshe, we'll just call her that. Nanshe or whatever. And also going to Nebuchadnezzar. I guess we can channel his energies too. Why not, right? Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going into details, but anyway, because I don't channel enough of the goddesses, but oh well. Those can get. The last one I did was kind of intense, and so. Anyway, Nebuchadnezzar, what I got from that, this is probably pretty obvious. So I was looking at a brief history of him, how he invaded. Well, first off, he was part of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. I'm not sure if he was part of. I don't know about the Tower of Babel. I'm not sure about that, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, my history's all screwed up. Either way, Babylon was fourth dimension. It wasn't third dimension, but it was very fourth dimension. That's why it can do the things that it did. That's why it connected to astrology and everything. Make sure I'm on the right. Make sure this is recording right. It's caught my attention. It's astrology, things like that. Our language, a lot of stuff was downloaded. Yeah, obviously, right. But when they invaded Jerusalem. I believe they did from the brief educate the 10-minute video I watched. Give me a little bit more understanding of it instead of I have to read everything, and I'm already drained as it is for whatever the hell is going on here. There's only so much a person can process, and sometimes the less you know, the better. At least through modern, So either way, yeah, it's like less is more. Well, because if you know a lot about religions, and if you don't know anything, then you can channel a more pure energy. The idea behind that, because it all depends on who you're talking to. But with when they invaded Jerusalem, yeah, they were taking their DNA and moving their civilization to different areas of the world, even in Egypt also. Any type of an invasion, there's it doesn't go very well, obviously. But the Babylonians, they get with the Jerusalem people, they get in relationships, or they do whatever they feel like, have children through them. This is what I'm getting at. Without going into the violent side of everything. So yeah, the one that so they seeded people. Oh, that sounds terrible, but anyway, trying to keep it PG. But they just forced their energies on other people, basically, because they knew their timeline was coming to an end. It's like they did everything. They did everything they were supposed to do, and now we need to do. I mean, our mission's over, basically. I don't know if it was a Nebuchadnezzar, but it was either way. It's pretty much the beginning of the end, from what I gather. But either way, they go on their war mongering, and they bring their energies to others. And then it was Alexander the Great eventually invaded Babylon also, and they added a Greek energy to it. So the Greeks were, had a lot of Babylonian energies with themselves too. So you're wondering how, and then of course, then you wonder how civilizations are continued on. Well, it's just like anything. It's like it runs its course, and then it goes away. So yeah, just I don't think they're really. I mean, obviously, it's for third dimension. They take the writings and all. I don't know if all the knowledge is there, the physical stuff. Imagine astrology and all that went into the Greeks. I don't know the whole story, but I imagine so. Then they made it their own. That was kind of the point. So, but the spiritual side of it is to continue their DNA. What I feel is like, civilization can only do so much. I mean, it's a master plan, and it's pretty complicated when you think about it. Like I say, Babylon was in the fourth dimension, and when it lost its dimension, it went away. It was like Atlantis. It just went away. I mean, there's not much of Babylon left, right? Not that I'm aware of. But that's talking about sacred ground, sacred portals, sacred. Those people are fourth dimension, and they're still in the third dimension physically, but fourth dimension, their minds are just, their world is totally different. I mean, maybe not with everybody, but pretty much. It's a fourth dimensional reality. So in history, of course, now it's all in ruins, barely exists. So we still have some kind of evidence. But even there, they don't really have a whole lot. I mean, they do, but they don't. So yeah, the new stage, the new book of our reality. So okay, all right, we'll go into as I try to talk and somebody interferes. I cannot pronounce this. I guess I should actually I Googled it or Googled voiced it before I. And then I just call it the Anunnaki. Gosh, either way. All right, and we'll see where this goes. Blessings. Here we go. Greetings to you. I am yes, a goddess. We'll just leave the pronunciation out there. You can, yes, Tara, it doesn't matter. Your reality here, or your past reality, was words through the tongue. To get those words to have meaning took, yes, a very long time to get the human to be able to communicate through voice. Telepathically, you're actually you're a telepathic in the beginning, but to learn the voice was another progression of society. To do what most beings do not do. But yes, they use their mouths, but it was just different. It's just a different energy of, yes, when everything is quiet. Even the Atlanteans used voice. It is not popular among many alien beings like your Zetas. Many of those that do telepathic energies do not use their vocal cords at all, or most don't even have any anymore. Because you are a fourth dimension energy, it doesn't matter. But civilizations that still once used sound is for them, it's not primitive. It's just for them, it brings out the emotion. Now, in your mind, you are emotion, but you also can be emotionless. There's emotion there, but it's a different type of emotion. But when you're verbal, when you can let things out, it's just like sometimes you want to hear yourself. You want to hear yourself sing, even if it is anger or even joy for that matter. Sound is part of your vibration, your earth. And to get those words for the early humans to finally create that language took a very long time. Yes, many did download it, but many wanted to try from a primitive stage of basically trying to learn. Of course, the children were easier to learn, but even they took some time. Yes, it's difficult to teach an adult to do so. But what happened with languages is that you create a language. We're not going into details of that. But as you create a language, many want to create another language that's like a continuation of it. All languages are connected in their own form. Some do symbols. Yes, they're all verbal, but many are very symbolic. Like Asian, Greeks, Asians are very much, because the symbol is you're like saying the symbol, using it through words. Of course, you have symbols in English too, a little bit more simplistic. But then again, you say Asians are a little bit more simplistic too. But your simplicity, it shows that your language, how it's written, and it has said, but also you can tell by the lettering of it, of where you come from. Of course, you're not very clear of that totally, where that language occurred. A lot of your English comes from Sirius. Actually, some of it comes from the planet Neptune. Is you say a word, what does it sound like? The vibration it puts out. It's all about vibration. It's like you put out a vibration and you or add a word to it. What's it mean? Sometimes you just do vibration and then you add the words later. It's just, what does it feel like? What is it saying? So you say you're talking and saying a great deal. And many humans added their own words as they're learning languages. This added them automatically. Either it was downloaded or something they created. All languages, of course, have been created, but many of them have been downloaded from other realities, but you made it your own. As for the symbolisms and the way words are said, like the word the is on other realities, of course, said differently, as you know. Basically, your language it goes into your DNA because it's sound. You wouldn't be here as long as you have been without sound. Your world would have, many civilizations they only go so far, but you're still understanding the sounds you're saying, the words that you're saying. Yes, you say it telepathically, but you also can go into the person's mind also, and you can see the mistakes before you make it. And with words coming out of your mouth, you don't always see everything in front of you because you're not connected to the mind anymore. Now you are, but not as much as you were before. Telepathically, you're merging technically with someone else's energy for a time being. Now you know what they want you to know, but not always. Sometimes you go into someone's mind, basically. It's like their mind, it's just like voice, but it's energy. It's more powerful thought process. It's like their thoughts and both of your thoughts let your minds come together through energy. As you think, your energy hits each other, you can say. Others can look at it differently, but like you're always sending out a signal, and your mind connects that signal, and you meet together, and it creates a joint energy. With sound, and you disconnect from your third eye, telepathic energies work much through the third eye. Your crown chakra, but you'd be surprised how much works through the third eye. Because of images, you send each other images. You don't even need a word, just images. So now you're seeing how tricky the wording is. And like I said, it will not be this long for you to be here. Because as you know, as a telepathic being, you're talking to somebody mentally and you see things they might not always want you to see if they're trying to be deceptive. So you catch things early. So you don't go through the problems of what your world's going through. It's like you shut off the higher chakras. You're now talking verbally. It is like driving in your car without a seatbelt. It's like your words can crash into somebody very easily, as many of you know. The safeguards are gone. You are all out of control, as you know, through vibration, through words that are said verbally. I mean, you can get through the world not saying anything, some can. So we believe also, yes, your vocal cord, as you go and become more telepathic beings, of course, you go to more fourth dimension, but many will still want the sound to come through. It's very important. As many became like poets and artists because of this new medium called sound as you speak. It's like you invented something new. Well, you activated something new that others have forgotten about. So they forget about how it feels to say something through sound. And yes, there's many alien worlds that are very quiet because everybody's in their minds. Not as exciting as yours, as you can probably see in that. Well, it depends. Your world is just very violent because you're not seeing what's in the mind. You are feeling the energy sources, yes, but you're not always sure what's going on. So your world can be very deceptive, which makes it interesting, but also hell on wheels, as you can see. A world out of control. But that was pretty much the point. Your Atlanteans, why they failed as they did, developed more sound within their voices, and their higher dimensions started to disconnect also. Not to say this is a bad thing, but their senses were not picking up as much as they did. Say that's one of the reasons why the pyramids were even created, because they weren't communicating with each other mentally anymore as they used to. So as they weren't devolving, they were evolving differently. But as Atlanteans used more of their voice box, and what they're experimenters. But the trouble that it brings they were not expecting. Some saw it, but some didn't quite understand it at the time until it started to happen. Now, not to say that you can talk out of your voice and you disconnect from the higher dimensions. No, but in this case, that's what happened. So, I mean, try getting it around this world without being able to say anything. You have to write everything down. Yes, imagine most of your society doing that, just writing everything down. You do it already, I guess. There's technology, but you're so vocal in some ways. If you're just alone at home, you're so vocal. And this is why your guides are sometimes having difficulties connecting with you too. First off, you're not connecting to them mentally as you used to, because as a telepathic, you're always in your mind. When you're a verbal being, who needs to, I mean, you're in your mind, but not in the same way. So as you become more telepathic, more of your, so those that are connecting more to their mental state are, yes, more telepathic. But you can balance both. You can still talk and have a telepathic connection. But balancing that is not always so easy. And most of the humans that do not believe in any of this are verbal beings, telepathic energies. What is that exactly? That is not something that they would ever sit with them. This is not something they would want to experience. A telepathic connection is insane to shut the mouth, the voice box, and just talk to your mind. Because they don't always want you to see everything. So those that don't believe in alien energies or in a spiritual level are shut down telepathic wise, as you know. So as you go into an awakening energy, you will start to, yes, what we see is your future. Yes, you as a physical, spiritual being that can talk verbally and telepathically connect. Yes, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. Yes, you write letters in your mind and send it to somebody. You can also do it in your mind. I know, it sounds like we're selling you something, but in your mind, you can also send out your resume. But remember, they have to be open to connecting to that. I mean, that's how powerful your society is. Yes, you might have some time for that. Well, your resume is you just telepathically connect to the owner of that business and tell them who you are mentally. You say, I'm not here to harm anybody. I'm just here to get a job. That one might be a little bit heavy for humanity to pull into the energy field. There's much more, of course, but language is poetry in the long run. Sound is energy. The world feels the sound, feels exactly what you're saying. You're all musical instruments, basically. You're not always realizing it. So blessings. There's another one here. Blessings to you. Greetings to you. I am Nebuchadnezzar, the stronghold of your planets. A king in my own right, a god, not a god, but one that realized the fate of humanity. I felt like at times that I was running the world of science, of everything. I feel like I was not necessarily the king of the world, a one that of great mystery. I was a mystery king. No one knew what I was going to do, but we were scared. Yes, because potions, magic. As I saw my own kingdom going down into the third dimension, which eventually began a war. There's been wars within Babylon, but to invade other countries, that we finally went into the third dimension energy to invade, but also to combine our energies with others. Yes, it is a sexual experience a mind experiment also necessary for our growth. We were not growing. Well, we humans, yes, were descendants of the Atlanteans. We're still in a physical form, in a fourth dimensional way. It was third dimension, but it's still fourth dimension. But as we reorganized the human, or the Anunnaki did so, I was part. Yes, I am Anunnaki, of course, but not even of high ranking. I was chosen because what I was capable of. Basically, they astrally they laid out what I was here to do, or what they wanted to do, and you can say I said yes to just about everything. Yes, power hungry, but a spiritual enlightened energy actually. But once again, as we went more to a third dimension vibration, a lower energy, that's when the wars all began. Of course, they began. There were stuff before that, of course, once again. But going into Israel was the beginning of our end, the beginning of our demise. Our us unlocking our energies with the Jewish people to re-energize our civilization, if it was possible. But even myself, I felt myself becoming more third dimension. My psychic abilities were not the same. I wasn't seeing things as I used to. I felt powerless. So when you feel powerless, you go to war. Because those in Israel were of a higher vibration than we were until we invaded, and that was a different story. Yes, we combined our vibrations. Much of Anunnaki is with Jewish people, but much of it is with a great deal of others in in that area, region of the world, Palestinian energies. Much of that is Anunnaki also. Not all of it. I mean, yes, everybody has a little bit of Anunnaki, of course, to some degree. Our Palestinians are more Palladian. They are Syrian too, of course, the alien Syrian. But actually, they're very Palladian. And they do clash with, because I don't feel like they're getting respected, which they are being respected. They don't feel like they're being treated well, because they're not being treated well. They're told to get lost, as you know. Well, they feel as a lesser being, which they are not. They are want to be equals, but they're told they are not equals. So, yeah, Israel is like an Anunnaki base, basically. So, yes, we rule the world. We're not always in full control of it anymore, but Anunnaki energies are hidden in many layers. And yes, it does go to all your governments, of course. When you see the structures of your government buildings, is identity, of course, of where you come from. As Anunnaki evolved, connected more to the Romans, it became more architecture, even with the Greeks, but definitely with the Romans, became more architecture. As the energies were putting out a new vibration to connect to the world. Architecture is everything, as you know, in your current reality. As the human goes down to third dimension, it has a way of channeling energies, as you know, which built many of your civilizations through channeling, connecting to spirit, basically, through your intuitions, creating this reality. But yes, your architecture, if you take away, many of you want a fifth dimension world or higher dimension, fourth dimension, you get rid of all your buildings. You clean them all out, unless they're connected to nature. If they're nature created, like created by mud, brick, whatever it might be, it's natural. Like a fairy built your world, your city. As yes, and there are many natural places. Yes, in your Palladian world, yes, they have mud. Well, they don't call it mud, but it is connected to the earth. So what created your matrix reality? Oh, yes, the infrastructures, as you know. But how many are going to, we don't want to put this out there, but how many are going to, yes, burn their houses down so they can make it out of clay instead? Now you can heal what you live in currently, of course. It is somewhat natural, but not everywhere, of course. Some, how the homes are usually built normally through wood. Of course, used by steel, but a lot of it is wood. And where does wood come from? Of course, your tree beings are also, yes, great architects themselves, but also the great warriors. Tree people, because they've built up such a knowledge, a strength. I know it sounds difficult, maybe, but yes, they're good at certain tasks. You give them one thing to do, they do it very well, depending on what it is, of course. Want to be a soldier? Would be a great soldier. It's like I was a great tree at one time. Now I'm a soldier. So the hanging Babylons, the hanging gardens of Babylon is a spiritual vibration connected with nature. So you find nature in your own way. Some live better through a robotic reality. We understand that. As Anunnaki, they are computers. I'm not going to say which ones, but they are computers. Because they are, yes, a technology-based reality. And they did teach much of your Zetas of how to use what they use. Not all of them, of course, but they did influence the Zetas a great deal. Well, Anunnaki found beings that the Zetas, all alien beings are explorers, as you know. And exploration on your world is limited recently. Reason being is because they want to make sure you're finding things that they want you to find. Of course, if you do find something you don't want to find, they don't want you to find. And some still are doing that, yes, but it's not easy becoming an archaeologist on your planet, as you can see. Well, for some it's a top, either way. It's not always the best paying job, let's put it that way. With good reason. You can say some architects or some archaeologists have to sell their souls in some ways if they want to be truly successful. May have done it in a positive. But if you're building infrastructures for your Illuminati, as the buildings of New York City are built for your Illuminati, to illuminate the world, to pull in energies from all different astral layers, mostly from lower, of course. So as you realize more of your soul origins here. So jewelry, certain types of jewelry, certain types of symbols you want to wear on yourself. Like some may have tattoos. That tattoo is usually for protection. You wonder for what. But also tattoos help you enter buildings too, especially those that have portals on them. So you have a tattoo or you feel like you need to wear jewelry. These mean for men too, men and women. It's like you want to push back the programming of reality. Doesn't mean you have to go out and get a tattoo, but for some, they need that reassurance that they're safe. They're a tattoo or some kind of crystal energy. Yes, to push back all of the portals, manipulations, whatever it might be. Yes, because this world will come after you. It will bury you alive, yes, with manipulation, as it's doing currently. Yes, those newsmakers that are here are magicians. Those that are, they're information magicians. They know how to put on a presence and say hypnotic words. And of course, you ask them about it, they say, what? Well, that tells you how good they are. Some are programmed, others are not. Bill O'Reilly is a good example of somebody that runs his own program, as literally runs his own program to manipulate society. Yes, when a newscaster has their name on their show, yes, that means they're magician energies. If you're part of a news group online, like or on your CNNs or whatever it might be, that's a high mind, you can say. But there's someone else that's the owner of them, the controller. Those that have their own name on a TV show or news broadcast, is they have learned hypnotism. Now, that doesn't always mean it's bad. Some are here to obviously hypnotize society and put it into psychosis, take over it. But others are here to unravel it. So if you can have your own show, I can too. I'm here to deprogram as you program, as many of you know. So those that have learned how to program, yes, are kind of a black magician or a minion of it, usually is a black magician of word manipulation. As many of you know this. I'm not telling you anything you have not heard before, but we are saying that these news media people, you think they're public puppets, but think, again, it's an easy cop-out. They know what they're doing. If they're a puppet, it's a puppet, but it's one that's obviously very sophisticated, like a president. So, there are magicians, but I'm going to continue with that. Very powerful ones. They might shrug it off because they are a third dimension magician energy of the narrative of timeline creating and keeping all doors shut down for you to think outside of what they say. So when they say something, they want to keep you in their mindset. They can say to do it telepathically. Usually through the word hypnotism. And it's not always someone, they program, a lot of them just program themselves from higher astral. They've already made a decision. And that's why some of them live long lives as a news broadcaster, because they actually ran their own show. When you're being energy programmed and you reject the programs, when you start getting sick, you get cancer. Not as powerful as it used to be. So it all depends. Everyone runs their show differently. That's all we have for you at this time. Blessings to you.